We go inside the Eagles' war room as Howie Roseman works the draft board to land Jihad Campbell in round 1. Plus, the Eagles GM loses a top lieutenant. The Eagles didn't do too much to address the offense this offseason, but they didn't really have to. Can Jalen Hurts and company reach another level anyway? And will all 10 draft picks find their way onto the final 53? We do a very early projection of the Eagles roster as we welcome you here to Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL. Alongside Dave Zangaro, I'm Amy Fiddle, and some new jersey numbers for some key players. Jahan Dotson now rocking number 2. Keely Ringo trades in his 22 for number 7. So what do you make of this? Single digits.
People like the single digits.
They do.
I think the players really like the single digits.
They were never allowed to wear them.
Yeah, I know. It's exciting. It's new. They're kind of fighting over these numbers, but I like it. I like it for both of them, actually.
Is it unusual for players to, Jahan Dotson's been around quite a bit for him to change his number.
So the one thing with Dotson is he had a number in the 80s, and my childhood wants all the receivers to go back to the 80s. I'm tired of the teens, but at least 2's different.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm used to seeing an 88 or an 85 or an 86.
No one wants the 80s anymore.
No one wants it. They want 11, 12, 2 now. Over the weekend, the Eagles released the behind the draft scenes, with some footage from their war room. Howie Roseman worked those phones. Let's take a look.
Say it's got something better. Come on.
Nobody wants to trade down.
Well, everyone's saying they are trading down, but nobody is trading down. I don't know what to tell you, Jeffrey. I'm trying.
I know.
I'm trying. How you doing? You want to flip? 168. All right. So may have just given them a free pick, but they're taking calls. They said. Come on, here we go, room. Let's get a little energy. Come on. One more. Just one more.
They're in. They're in.
Hey. 168, the last one. Obviously. I'm giving you a free pick. You can do whatever you want after it. I'm not trading it. So if you want to trade it, you can. And I'm telling you what side I'm picking. I don't know. Maybe this is our first trade. Yeah, I'm going to defense. I'll do 164. All right, we're good? All right, we're good. Hey, great. All right, we're on the clock. Oh, perfect. Great.
What did we give up?
164.
Had to point out, it's the last one in every round because that's what happens when you're in the Super Bowl. Let's check out the three-point stance presented by Toyota. First up, Howie Roseman's persistence did pay off. You could hear him there, like no one wants to trade down. He's trying to trade back up to get up to 22nd. He saw the kinds of deals being made. He wanted to get in on that action, got rejected time and time again, but he did get his guy, Jihad Campbell, at 31, Dave.
Yeah, it worked out well.
Small trade.
Because, in that clip they showed, he was trying to get up to 22. They would have given up their second-round pick to do that, to get Jihad Campbell. They end up sitting back. They move up one spot, a modest trade up, which I do love the way that worked out. He tries to give up 168, and Brett Beach is like, no, I want 164.
Yeah.
I love how that goes.
Yeah.
It ends up working out perfectly for them if you believe that Campbell was their target all along, and I have no reason to doubt them, especially we heard Jeffrey Lurie, when he got on the phone with Jihad Campbell, say, hey, we've been trying to get you for an hour. So it kind of works out. In this scenario, Howie was trying to be aggressive, and I understand that, but it paid off not being able to trade up.
He got his guy. The thing is, you're starting to see some of those guys fall, and that's when I think they thought, like, hey, we need to move up because they don't want our guy to be gone. But are you surprised because he was so aggressive on day one that he wasn't maybe more aggressive on day 2?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that was they were so far. Like you mentioned, you win the Super Bowl, you're at the bottom of the round. You're at 64 overall, and so much of that top talent, the guys we had talked about, like maybe going in the first round, because by the end of mock draft season, you have 50 guys who you've talked about being a first-round pick. Once those guys were off the board, and they came off pretty quick, those players at the top of the second round, those were the players, that was the value in this kind of range. And once that dropped off, the Eagles weren't going to trade up, and they couldn't trade up high enough from 64
to get into the 40s.
Yeah, and I was a little surprised in in the third round because they had 96, then they traded back to 101, and then they traded out of the round completely. There was clearly a drop-off in talent level, but I was surprised they didn't try to move up and maximize those picks. But then you see what they did, and they're making 8 picks on day 3. Their strategy kind of shifted into making more day 3 picks, whereas I thought coming into this draft, man, try to get up there, move up in the second or third round, really target some key players. They went the other way, and I understand why they did it.
Well, they still took 5 guys, obviously heavy on the defense. We should also know the Eagles director of college scouting, Anthony Patch, is leaving the team for a promotion with the Raiders.
Yeah, it's a big loss. He was with the organization over 2 decades, and we talk so much about how well the Eagles have drafted, and ultimately, like, Howie Roseman gets all that credit, but it's not just him. There's a big scouting department. Anthony Patch was a big part of that for a long time, but look, the Eagles have gotten really used to having to replace people in their scouting department, in their front office, in their coaching staff, on their roster. That's what happens when you're a good team. You end up losing good people. So I think there is a confidence level that they'll be able to figure this out. There might be some more movement, too. After the draft is typically when we see movement with the scouting staff. Their contracts typically run through the draft, and then there's some movement, but the Eagles have to just try to maintain the status quo because what they've done recently has certainly worked, especially in the draft.
Yeah, that scouting department has been working overtime, and it's paid off big time. They won a Super Bowl, for Pete's sake. Number 2, the Eagles' offense can improve without any additions. They didn't do anything significant in free agency on the offensive side of the ball, didn't draft anybody on offense until the 5th round. Of course, the offense is pretty well set. We know that. So can they find another gear, another level, because of maybe the continuity, albeit with a new OC?
Sure, yeah, and that's obviously the big question. How does Kevin Patullo take over for Kellen Moore? But you think back to last year, and now we remember last year as, this was a dominant team. They won the Super Bowl. Everything must have just worked perfectly well in 2024. I mean, that wasn't the case.
No.
We spent a good portion of last season saying, when's this passing offense going to get better? And it wasn't just us. It was A.J. Brown. That passing comment from A.J. Brown was in December.
It honestly feels like it was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, it does. It feels like it was a long time ago. And that's not to say that it didn't work. Obviously, they were able to flip the switch when they needed to, and we thought that might be the case because of the talent they had. But it does show you that, there is another gear for this offense. I think that for a lot of at least the regular season, that offense didn't play up to expectation. They ended up finishing 8th in overall offense. They were 29th in passing offense, 2nd in rushing offense. And they kind of changed the way they went about things because Saquon was so dominant, because the offensive line knocked on Nick Sirianni's door and said, hey, let's lean on us and let's run the ball with Saquon. I think the passing offense can evolve. And that's not to take anything away from what they did last year. Obviously, they get into the playoffs, and you see what they do in the NFC Championship game, the Super Bowl. That was great. I think that can be the standard. I mean, I think that can be what they do week in and week out in this season. A tougher schedule, sure, but look at the talent level. You saw those names on the screen.
Ridiculous.
Amy. It's unbelievable. You have Jalen Hurts coming off one of his best games in the biggest stage. You have A.J. Brown. You have Devontae Smith. We'll see if you have Dallas Goedert. But you have the best offensive line in football, the best running back in football. Yeah, there's no reason why this offense shouldn't be elite and shouldn't be better, honestly, than it was in 2024.
Yeah, it is hard to remember. They did struggle. We remember, but we choose not to because we go with
it kind of makes it more fun, right? To think about, that was December. That was after the Panthers game.
It wasn't week 2.
No.
It's been crazy. The Eagles have plenty of picks to work with in 2026. After their draft week in wheeling and dealing, they still have projected 12 selections next April. That includes 3 third-round picks, 1 from the Jets and 1 compensatory pick. So they're also projected to get comp picks in the 4th and 5th rounds. Another whole host of picks right here.
Yeah, it's just a lot of ammo for Howie Roseman to do whatever he wants. He can trade these picks for players. He can move around in the 2026 draft. That's what he likes. He likes to be able to do a bunch of different things, and having all these picks gives him that freedom.
Yeah, there's no way he picks that many people. I mean, that's a lot of picks, right?
I didn't think he'd
12. I didn't think
8 guys on day 3 this year either. So
that's true. You never know.
A lot of options there.
Keeps you guessing. Let's check out the playbook presented by Supercuts. When we return, Dave Zangaro gives us his too early, but not really, but kind of, 53-man roster projection. We're going to take a look at how he sees this roster shaking out. Plus, Bear Brooks breaks down Drew Kindle and what he could bring to the Birds. And A.J. Brown is getting a ring, and he's giving one out as well. We got details on the big ring ceremony we're going to give it? It was really big at the Four Seasons. Details on that. Birds Huddle is presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL.